Oh, g'day guys and gals. Remember, this is a gender inclusive channel as like 1.5% of our viewers are chicks. I'll have to check it again later because it may have dropped to like 1.2% or whatever. Anyways, part 3 of what happened to all legendary lords during the end times, arguably my most successful video series, is here for you guys now. Woo, yay! Had to wait for CA to release or announce the new legendary lords for Tomb Kings before I could get started, and here we are now. I've also included all the legendary lords and heroes that I missed from my previous videos, part 1 and part 2, check them out. And if you thought this video couldn't get any better, my new mic arrived, which you may have been able to hear after me trying to order it for 2 months. Fuck yes, today has been a good day. Other than, the fact that my AIDS test came back positive, I'm just, a really positive guy, so no surprise there. Anywho, let's get into it. Kicking us off is by far the most requested dude that I tell you lads and laddises about. Literally, I get messages non-stop about this guy, so I present Grombrindle, the White Dwarf. Because this boyo is so mysterious and a kind of demigod who seems to be able to come in and out of existence whenever, he wasn't super present during the end times. However, he had 2 big moments. Once, he came out of nowhere and tomahawked some chaos cunt and saved Malekith, hence, forgiving old mate Malekith for betraying him and creating a massive war between dwarves and elves and ruining everything, it's in the past. And the second time, his second big moment was during the final battle for Middenheim. Alright, I'm just going to say this now quickly. During the end times, there were multiple final battles that took place simultaneously, at the same time. The battle for Middenheim was the big one, where the Incarnates and their armies attempted to beat Chaos permanently. There was also the final battle for Bretonnia, where some vampires and Bretonians made a last stand and killed a mega fuckton of Chaos. And then there was also the final battle of Athelloren, where the Shadow King led the remaining elves in the defense of the Oak of Ages. We get that? Good. Let's continue. So old mate Grombrindle was last seen fighting alongside his mates Gortek and Joseph Bugman, literally killing thousands of Chaos with the furious power of their cocks and badassery. Although the White Dwarf was consumed by the end times explosion wave of death thingo that, everyone was, he was never explicitly stated to have been slain, hence it is expected he will eventually reappear in Age of Sigmar. Coming in hot after him is none other than Settra the Imperishable, and by God this motherfucker lived up to his name. As the king of the Tomb Kings, you can say that Settra is a pretty proud dude, pretty cocky, and doesn't take shit. So when Nagash came knocking to fuck up Nekahara, I think I got that right, that's a pretty good pronunciation, don't animal rate me if I did it wrong, Settra wasn't going to take Nagash's shit and engage in the most tedious war ever. I say tedious because it was undead versus undead. This literally meant that soldiers were being killed and then instantly revived to keep fighting, meaning there was a battle that just lasted for fucking ages. During the battle, there was so much time that Nagash literally went off, killed the Tomb King's god of death in order to get more powerful enough to finally kill the Tomb Kings. This shit is tedious when you have to kill your enemy's god in order to beat them, holy fuck. Anyways, Settra finds him at Nagash's mercy after he loses the battle, and Nagash is like, "Hey man, I know you don't like me much, but I appreciate how you backflip and kill big things, so, do you just want to let bygones be bygones and join me and be one of the lads?" To which Settra replies, "Fuck off, you gay cunt. I'd rather lick my dead dad's nuts than be your bitch." So Nagash is like lol K and blows up Settra's body and throws his head into the sand. But be damned if you think that stops Settra the Imperishable. After sitting in the sand for a few days, being pissed off that he was just a head and had a very itchy nose, Settra was contacted by the gods of chaos, who restored his body and were like, "Hey man, we know Nagash bullied you, so we'll make you an immortal lord of chaos if you go serve us and kill him." To prove his worth, the gods ordered Settra to kill Kolak Suneater, as the dragon ogre was becoming a bit of a handful. Settra was like, "No worries," and spent 4 days dueling the fucking king of dragon god ogres, those big guys, they're painful to deal with, before finally cutting his head off and throwing it at Archaon's feet. In the final battle for Middenheim, he comes up and confronts Nagash, and he's like, "Listen here, cunt, I don't like you very much." But Settra does a backflip and one-shots some greater demon who's going to attack Nagash, and then he says, "And one day, I'll fuck you up, but not today. These cocky chaos cunt gods think they can command me, so now I'm going to fucking kill them all, and I'm going to fuck you up after it." Cetra, the motherfucking imperishable, ladies and gentlemen. After he schools Nagash, he then solo charges into the Chaos Army, Aragon style, and proceeds to get a new high score in decapitations. Fucking hell, Cetra is cool. He was last seen making giants, trolls, and dragon ogres his bitch as the world ended. It is expected he will eventually return in Age of Sigmar in some form, because of how much of a sick cunt he is. Now to more of an obscure lord. I give you the Red Duke. Not gonna lie, this guy isn't that amazing or much of a badass. During the Bretonnian Civil War, he tries to take advantage of the chaos caused by, all the war and shit, and to try and gain more power. But Arkan the Black isn't really into it and incinerates most of his army and makes the old Red Mate run back to his mummy. The Red Duke later returns and fights along the Green Knight and other Bretonnian and vampire lords during the final battle for Bretonnia. He wasn't stated to have been slain in the final battle, but most likely just consumed by the Wall of Chaos as it came to Bretonnia. It is unlikely that he will reappear in Age of Sigmar because, he wasn't a very significant character or anything though. I liked his armor though. Speaking of Arkan the Black, let's do him next. Serving as Nagash's right-hand man, this dude had a lot of screen time during the end times and he did not disappoint. Whether he was nuking the Red Duke's army, incinerating Heimlich Clemmer, or getting cut in half by Cetra, this guy was constantly on the move. He literally became the brand ambassador for Nike, because if there was something to do, this guy was doing it. At the start of the end times, this guy turned, forgive the pronunciation, Eltharion, I think I nailed that, into dust, and killed Volkmar the Grim, along with the Fey Enchantress, in order to revive Nagash. Not a bad effort. After that, he just followed Nagash around and had a big crush on Neferata, constantly hitting her up with pickup lines and going a bit overkill on his enemies to try and impress her. This kinda worked, but not really, because although she kisses his hand and was sad when he had to sacrifice his life to buy her some time to escape the final battle of Middenheim, he didn't even cop a blowy. I don't know if he even got to see her tits, but well. Arkan is revived in the Age of Sigmar and returns to the position of Nagash's right hand. Very loyal Arkan is. Good lad. One of the fan favourites, which I did cover a little bit in part 1 of these videos, is Boris Todbringer. While he was being a nice quiet lad during most of the end times, he had his moment in the spotlight where he had a big fucking hizzy fit, declares that Khazrak One Eye, who's literally the most insignificant and weak Chaos Aligned character, is the cause of the end times, and that's the only way to stop the end times is to kill him. So Boris, being the hard cunt that he is, goes off by himself, finds Khazrak's basement camp, asks for a duel, so Khazrak's like, "Are you on drugs, mate? Fine, alright, we'll have a duel." And then Boris out of nowhere pulls some fucking sick Jedi moves, stabs Khazrak in the face, fucking murdering him instantly. Unfortunately for Boris, beastmen aren't exactly gentlemen when it comes to dueling etiquette, so he then gets ripped to shreds by thousands of beastmen who were lurking nearby. Well, he killed his rival and probably thought he stopped the end times, so good for him. On to another fan favourite, I present Gilles Le Breton, or as he's better known, and more easy to pronounce, the Green Knight. During the Bretonnian Civil War, which was occurring early in the end times, Leon's bastard son, Malobade, which I assume is how you say it, was beating his father in the war and eventually struck him down in a duel. Leon survived somehow, don't ask why, I don't know. Malobade then approached the final defiant Bretonnian city and mocked them, saying he was unkillable. Well, boy oh boy, he sure did get proved wrong that day, as the gates of Corone swung open, and the Green Knight, who's literally an immortal demigod at this point, charged out and skull-fucked Malobade to death, instantly ending the civil war, as Malobade's army was like, I'm not in the mood to get skull-fucked by a god who glows like a green LED. The Green Knight then unified Bretonnia as best as he could. Turns out Leon didn't die and took a large portion of Bretonnian knights to help the Empire, while the Green Knight remained in Bretonnia. He led the remaining Grail Knights to join forces with the remaining loyal Blood Knights and other vampires in an epic last stand of Bretonnia, and fuck me, this guy brought down the pain train. Fighting back to back with Abarash, leader of the Blood Dragons, the Green Knight slew thousands of Chaos minions. It is not stated if the Green Knight eventually falls in battle, however he is eventually consumed by the Chaos Tide when the final battle of Middenheim goes poorly for the good guys. He has not yet appeared in the Age of Sigmar, but Games Workshop better fucking include him, cause I get a genuine boner for this guy. Moving on to someone more obscure is, alright, pronunciation is going to suffer a lot, I don't speak Egyptian, is Grand Hierophant Ketef. That's what I'm giving you guys, so that's how I hope it's said. This guy's been doing his thing, helping out the Tomb Kings and slaying some puss, because he was like exiled and shit by Cetra. When Nagash was revived, old mate Katef was like, fuck, I've been exiled, but Nagash is definitely gonna try and rape us all to death, so I feel like now's a good time to break my exile and try and save my beloved Tomb Kings. So he marched to his old exiled ass to Cetra in the city of Khemri, and Cetra was like, if you've come back during exile, then you probably have something important to say. Then Katef was like, yes, boss man. Nagash is back, and is on the way to fuck us all to death. Well, double death, because we're already technically dead. I think you should take up the Destroyer of Eternities and use it to kill Nagash and save us. And then Cetra was like, oh, no shit, that's a pretty good idea. Thanks for telling me, but you know, because you broke the rules of your exile, I'm gonna have to cut off your head. Then Katef was like, oh man, really, like, I really feel like I've, done you a favor and helped you out. Can you, please not cut my head off? So Cetra was like, yes, sorry, can't help you with that one. Please put your neck forward. So Katef was like, well, yeah, right, like, fair enough. So Cetra cut off Katef's head, and now he's dead, and that's pretty much it. Exciting, I know. This brings us to the final legendary lord for the Tomb Kings. I give you High Queen, fuck's sake, Khalida. I'm giving you Khalida, I reckon that's it. Khalida fought with the Tomb Kings to try and defeat Nagash's invasion. Her battle was mostly with Neferata, who was her arch-rival, and they fought each other to a standstill. However, despite her being able to hold off Neferata, Cetra was beaten by Nagash, hence all the Tomb Kings were beaten. Khalida considered resisting Nagash, however decided she would shelve her plan for revenge and join him in the meantime. She's not really prominent for the rest of the end times until the end, where she flees the Battle of Middenheim with Isabel von Karstein and Neferata, when Arkan sacrifices himself to give them time. Neferata and fuck this bitch's name, Khalida had a bit of a relationship arc and don't hate each other's guts anymore. As a Tomb King, human and undead warriors did everything they could to protect each other and fight off chaos. Neferata and every time Khalida held hands, and also probably had great undead lesbian sex, but that hasn't been officially confirmed by Games Workshop, unfortunately. But yeah, chaos eventually gets her, and that's that. Those are all the legendary lords and heroes that I missed or are soon to come out. But because I'm a total babe, I'm going to let you guys know what happened to the Shadow King and the leader of the Blood Dragons, as these lads may end up being legendary lords themselves, and they're too awesome to leave out. Kicking it off with Abhorash, nailed it. He is the leader of the Blood Dragons. Well, was until most of them betrayed the vampire counts and became overpowered corn worshippers. Abhorash obviously wasn't too happy about this, but because he's such a level-headed pro, he didn't go out on a suicide mission to kill something, like some other characters did in the list. Boris. He leads the remaining loyal Blood Dragons and other vampires, including the Red Duke, to back up the Green Knight in the final stand against the armies of Chaos in Bretonnia. Between Gillies and Abhorash, so much ass must have been kicked on that day that the forces of Chaos will forever have nightmares of Abhorash and the Green Knight, aka the Anal Pounders of Chaos. It isn't stated if he is slain, however it is unlikely he will appear in Age of Sigmar, because if he was going to appear he probably would have by now. And finally, the most badass high elf there is. It is the Shadow King. I'm so excited for this guy to become a legendary lord, and you're about to find out why. Alethanar, aka the Shadow King, remained neutral in the war between the High Elves and the Dark Elves during the end times. Instead, he just kinda killed whoever was being the bigger cunt at the time. He even fucking killed Tyrion while Tyrion was merged with Cain, and then instantly non-fatally shot Malekith with an arrow which is known purely for inducing pain. As Malekith was shitting himself for how much pain the arrow put him in, the Shadow King was like, hey mate, don't be a dickhead. Tyrion was being a dickhead, and you see what I did to him. If you aren't a shit ruler of the elves, then we're cool. Also, that arrow is very painful, so you should probably get that checked out by a doctor. When the Incarnates and their armies travel to Middenheim for the final battle, the Shadow King remains in Athel Loren to coordinate its defences. He proceeds to slaughter many Khornite demons using the most intense guerrilla tactics around. He was last seen defending the Oak of Ages and leading remnants of elven survivors deeper into Athel Loren. Hopefully he appears in Age of Sigmar, but we can only hope. There you have it. What happened to the Tomb King Legendary Lords and then a bunch of others I missed. If you guys enjoyed this video, then please subscribe, it helps me out a shitload. I also read all comments, so get commenting and I'll probably reply. That's it for now. Peace. Oh yeah, no shit, I forgot to say this in the video. Discord channel link in the description. Jump on it. I play games with you guys if you're on it. I'll chat to you guys. I'll tell you about my future videos. It's lit. It's popping off right now. Link will be in the description and the comment section. Join the Discord.